In today's episode of the Pathmonk Presents podcast, I got a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Miles Hobson, and he's hailing over from the folks over at Hospitable. And today we want to talk about how they help you to charm your guests with a white glove care service. So basically, how you can automate personalized human conversations, when it comes to, all the bookings across platforms, Airbnb, Booking.com, and the likes. So yeah, Miles, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Good to be here.
Good. Yeah. So tell people a little bit more about it. Like, how does it work? What is Hospitable all about?
Sure, yeah. So Hospitable was founded in 2016, and essentially we are a SaaS tool for short-term rental hosts. So as you say, short-term rental hosts are those people with vacation rentals, properties on Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, or their own direct booking website. And essentially we're there to help those hosts kind of automate a lot of the processes. There's a lot of repetitive tasks like messaging guests the Wi-Fi password, messaging them their smart lock door code, managing cleaners, making sure that booking calendars don't overlap. We're basically there to kind of help with that process and almost act as an assistant, a virtual software assistant to those hosts.
Mm-hmm. What types of tasks would the system take over for them?
Sure, yeah. So a lot of our system, it revolves around our messaging tools. So we have AI-powered messaging. So essentially, we look at those messages that are very common that come in from guests. And basically, hosts can, pre-program answers to a lot of those questions. Like, what's the Wi-Fi password? What are the check-in instructions? What do I do with the bins once I've left it? That kind of thing. And essentially, it means that hosts can reply to guests at all hours of the day or night. And it also obviously just cuts down on those repetitive asks. Also, as I mentioned, we do things like looking after the booking calendar. So we're feeding in all the information from your different listings on different sites. Obviously, people want to manage their property across different platforms to get more bookings. What we're doing is making sure that those different platforms don't clash, and making sure that you're sending messages back to the correct platform, making sure you're not getting double bookings, and just making sure it's a really smooth process for both the host and the guest so that you can improve the guest experience.
Very cool. Now, tell us maybe a bit about the types of hosts you're working with. Is that single location renters? Is that, multi, like large scale or operators?
Sure.
A little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So our software is obviously available worldwide. The majority of our customers, though, are based in the US. There's a massive Airbnb short-term rental market in the US. So a lot of our customers are based there. Our primary customers really are those people with, 1 to 3 properties. We certainly see people that, join us at 1 to 3 properties and scale up. That's not to say we don't have people with hundreds of properties, but our real sweet spot is helping people to get started. The people that are probably, they see short-term rental as basically a way to get more revenue for their property. They've made that investment and they want to get a good return. But obviously, short-term rental naturally has a bit more work than long-term rental. So we're there to step in and make that process just that bit easier to kind of get started and, automate a lot of that process. For a lot of those hosts, this isn't a full-time job, although it may feel like one. It's probably not their usual 9 to 5. So we're there to really kind of support them as they try to grow that, that side hustle, if you will.
Mm-hmm. What have you found to be is something that hosts underestimate when it comes to workload?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's definitely the amount of messaging that they have to do to kind of communicate with a guest, and it's not just in the stay period. It's also in the build up to a stay. There's a lot of interaction with every guest, and to stay on top of that and really kind of have that positive guest experience, you want to be able to kind of bring across a consistent kind of brand and tone of voice, and you want to be very friendly and engaging, and you have to give fast responses too. The algorithms on Airbnb really do kind of impact how much you show up. If you're not responding to people quickly, they really do kind of weigh negatively against you. So that response time is really important, and we obviously help with that in a big way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very cool. So then let's maybe move deeper a little bit. How do people learn about you guys? Like, how do the hosts, hear and learn about you?
Yeah, for sure. So really a lot of our marketing is based on organic traffic. We do a lot of blog content. We also do a lot of webinars and podcasts. And really, we want to provide lots of thought leadership and insight for hosts. As I said before, we have a lot of hosts that kind of just getting started, or they want to, expand their business and grow their investment portfolio. So we really work with industry partners and experts in the industry to, put out content that helps them to grow. And obviously along the way, we're promoting Hospitable alongside that as a tool that can, help them too. And as I mentioned there, partners play a big role as well. We have lots of industry partners that we integrate with. We find hosts use a variety of tools as they build out their business to help automate a bunch of tasks, like finding cleaners, like setting pricing for their listing. And these partners are a great way to kind of co-market as well. And they introduce clients to us and we introduce clients to them also.
Very cool. Now, what do you think, which role does the website play in their journey?
Yeah, so the website is massively important for Hospitable. We really drive everyone there. The main goal of the website is to drive people to a free trial. We want to get people into a 14-day free trial. And then we hope that on the back end that we do a very good job of convincing those hosts that we are a great software and that they will want to pay for it on an ongoing basis. Obviously, the website, though, has to convince people to give us a go and highlight some of those features. A key part of the website, though, is definitely the blog. And that's really what drives a lot of traffic into our website and really starts to educate people around short-term renting and using tools to assist you in that journey.
Very cool. I was actually just thinking about the 14 days because we had a lot of marketers on the show. There was a lot of different rationales for how long the trial is. I was curious, right? Because in your case, I guess in the 14 days, they need to get enough bookings so that the experience actually clicks. Like, what's the moment of value that you've identified typically where they feel, it really clicks?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's definitely, getting some bookings in that window definitely helps. A key first step in that 14-day free trial and something that we really push hosts to do is, connecting their Airbnb account. That's kind of a first step. They need to do that to see the value that they're going to get. Because as soon as they do that, they'll see their Airbnb messages feeding into Hospitable, and then they can set up automations, to automatically respond to those Airbnb messages. So immediately once hosts start seeing those responses to Airbnb messages, they'll see the value that Hospitable provides, and they'll see that, oh, that's actually saved me a couple of minutes of logging into Airbnb manually and sending that message myself. And then they can see that, that scales up pretty quickly. If they look at the number of messages that they get in any given month, they'll see the value. And that's when they start to kind of commit, okay, Hospitable is for me. I'm going to pay for the subscription.
Very cool. Now, when we talk about the website, we were just talking about that prior. Like, what do you think is like a strength of the page versus where do you see maybe room for even further improvement?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually doing kind of a lot of work on the website at the moment, and we're looking to kind of relaunch it. I think for us, a strength that we have is, there's a lot of content on the blog and there's a lot of content on the main website that's really, SEO focused and does a good job of educating users. I think what we need to get better at, and with the new website design, is making some of that information a bit clearer and easier to follow. And a key part of that is going to be video as well. We know that not everyone wants to kind of sit through and read big blocks of text. So we want to give them that information in, short, snappy videos that really get to the point of the benefits of what Hospitable provides.
Very cool. Now, I would like to switch gears a little bit and talk with you about your daily work. I mean, if there's such thing as a typical kind of day, like what would be a typical day for Miles looking like?
Yeah, sure. So I don't think there is a typical day to start things off. In Hospitable, we're a fairly small team. Currently, we're around 35 employees. The marketing department is a department of one, and that's me, obviously. So a lot of the marketing work is either done by myself or external agencies. So, a key part of my day is checking in with those agencies as soon as I log on and understanding where they're at with separate projects and where they need support from me. And then obviously, actioning that. And then obviously, I think for every marketer, metrics play an important role. So it's checking how our metrics are performing and looking at what needs to be actioned there as well, and thinking about kind of what is our biggest strategy to increase the number of free trials coming through that website.
Very cool. A couple of rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today. Are you ready for those?
Sure. Sounds good. Let's go.
What is the last book that you read or the last podcast you listened to?
The last podcast I listened to is kind of a cheat because it's Pathmonk. I listened in preparation for this. But the other piece would probably be the latest book I read, which was called Tiny Habits. And that was kind of an interesting read around kind of enforcing kind of better habits in both, your personal life and in your work life. And I actually found that great for kind of making sure I'm doing some of the things in the marketing department that kind of get left behind, those little admin tasks that you never get around to. I found that book quite handy in kind of setting those habits to make sure those little things get done and they don't just get left to the end of the month when reporting comes around or the finance team comes asking for those invoices and that kind of thing.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
So for us at the moment, a big focus is direct bookings. We're launching a brand new tool that basically allows hosts to build out their own direct booking website or add our widget to their existing website. And then what that also does is basically through the booking flow, we've integrated with partners to basically have damage protection and guest screening as part of that experience. So these are things that typically, if you have your own direct booking website, you'd have to go and purchase separately and kind of figure out how you add them into the flow. We've packaged that up nicely with all our other tools, all of our automated messaging tools and what have you, to make kind of a full package for anyone looking to build out a direct booking website. So that's going to be a really big thing for us coming in the next month. We're doing a big launch of that and hoping to get out to as many hosts as possible.
And do I get this right? This will then feed sort of into the same inboxes and stuff like that you got from your Airbnb booking and then from your own website as well? Or how does the ecosystem then work for yourself?
That's correct. Yeah. So basically, you can then list on Airbnb, you can list on Vrbo, you can have your own direct booking website, and they can all be promoting the same property. But obviously with direct, you don't have Airbnb taking a cut of the money, and you have a bit more control over what you do with your brand. Obviously with Airbnb, you're very much being held account to their algorithms, and you can only do so much with your listing. Having your own direct booking website means you can list your property in the way you want to list it. And you can also manage guests in the way you want to manage them. You can decide who you want to reject and accept. Something that's kind of difficult on Airbnb because you get penalties if you don't accept a booking, even if it's someone that doesn't look favorable after that guest screening process.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Next question. If you would have a magic wand and could fix one thing for your role as a marketer, what's the one thing you would fix?
Wow, tough question. I think probably it's around analytics. It's always tough to kind of get the analytics you need without having to spend a lot of time delving into reports and piecing together all the information. It'd be great if you could just magically get everything to appear in one place at one time, and you could just, ask a question to AI maybe, and the answer will appear. So I think that probably would be my answer. Yeah.
Very cool. Very last question. If today would be your very first day at joining Hospitable, what's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
That's a good question. I think for me joining Hospitable, it probably would be, to ask for help as much as possible. I think being a department of one, you typically kind of take on a lot of responsibilities yourself. When that's not always the best idea, there's probably other people in the organization that can offer a lot of input, even if they're not marketers, and probably offer their own expertise. So that's something that, I'm trying to do more right now. But that's definitely something I should have probably been doing more from day one.
Very cool, Mas. I really appreciate you joining us today for the Pathmonk Business Podcast. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Hospitable, what's the one thing people should remember?
So basically, I just say that if you own a short-term rental, you should definitely go and check out Hospitable. We're basically going to automate a lot of the processes there for you and just make it a lot easier and a lot more trivial to operate a short-term rental. So go and check us out.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmonk Presents.
Thank you.